Good morning and welcome to Real Love. We have a special guest for you today. However, before we get started, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll keep the information coming. But we have Mr. and Miss Michael and Robbie Mathews today, and they are going to share what real love means to them. But before we get them on, I want to make sure that you all grab a pen and a piece of paper because guess what? Success leaves clues. And so we're about to get some success on what it takes for longevity in love. Hi, how are you all today?
Hi, how are you, Dr. Liz? Thank you for inviting us to your show today. Awesome.
Oh, thank you both for coming on and, and just sharing of your time with us. We just want to start, we just want to have a conversation about what love means to you and what does it take for this longevity? What does it take?
Well, I'll just go first just for a couple of minutes. I think I had a teachable moment for the men because when you said hello, how are you all doing? I was silent, and a gentleman always lets the woman go first. And I allowed my wife to go first and say whatever it is she wanted to say. And for you men who are watching, that's part of love. That's part of love. It's to know who you are as a man and give your woman, your wife, your friend, your sister, your mother, and all women that due respect that they so deserve, that they really deserve.
Wow, that's incredible. What a way to get started. I guess the ball is now in our court, Robbie. Well, what's your take on it?
Yes, thank you, honey, for allowing me to go first. No, he is a total gentleman, and he always puts me first in everything that we do, and I appreciate that. And it's really about we don't try to compete with each other in terms of well, you did this or you're responsible for this. We're equal partners in everything that we do. And sometimes someone has to lead and someone has to follow. And so sometimes it's his turn. He leads and then I follow. Sometimes I lead and he follows. So it all depends on the situation and circumstances. And that way there's a balance and you don't feel like, well, he's controlling everything or she's got to have her way all the time. It has to be equal. You decide what your responsibilities are. He decides what his responsibilities are. You work together on those. You work together on that. And it makes things a lot more easier than having to always compete with each other to get things done.
That's amazing. I think that's one of the if we're talking about right now the ingredients, I think that's a major ingredient just to start that foundation. And speaking of foundations, how did you all meet?
Now, we both have our own story of how we met. So you all believe my story. My story is the true story. Man, it's the true story. Yes, 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 yes. Well, we both have an uncle that we call Uncle Fred affectionately. He's not our blood uncle, but he was just so close and so special to us that everybody calls him Fred, but we call him Uncle Fred. And he was an ex-Harlem Globetrotter. He played basketball at Illinois State University, All-American, and he owned the nightclubs. So when I was overseas in Europe, Robbie knew him before I did, and they became friends. And she used to frequent all of the nightclubs. But that's part of her story. I'll let her bring you up to speed. So when I came back to Chicago, and I met Uncle Fred, and he had a nightclub, and I started coming to the club, and he asked me to work at the club. The official title was security, but my title was gentleman host to the ladies who came in, make sure they were seated, in the right spots and was taken care of. So Robbie and her girlfriends one day came in. It was about 5 of them. They were all business suited and booted down from head to toe, business suits. And they all had brand new shiny Mercedes Benzes. And I said, wow, this is a different crop of women that I'm used to seeing up here. Even though all of the women were high class, but these were business women, corporate, you could tell. So they all paid up until Robbie. Robbie said, I don't pay. So I was hardcore. I said, you're going to pay today. She said, well, I'm not paying. She said, go get the manager. I said, I'm not getting the manager. So she paid, and then she went and got the manager, which is affectionately our uncle, but we didn't know we both knew him. So on the way back to talk to him and her was walking toward me. And after I had made her mad and after she had told on me, this only thing he ever did was put my hand in her hand and smiled and walked away. Now I'm standing there with a man, woman that's a good friend of my uncle, but he smiles, so he gave me the green light that she's okay. Fix whatever the problem is.
Wow. I love that version of it.
Well, I have a slightly different version. I mean, everything he said was correct, except I wasn't mad because I knew he didn't know me. Let's just say I was a little annoyed, but I wasn't mad because I knew he didn't know me, and I never paid to get into any of Uncle Fred's clubs. And so I went on and paid it was only $5, and he see if he had to let me in for free, he wouldn't have had to spend as much money over these past 23 years as he has today.
It sure cost me.
That was a costly error on it.
I should let you in for free.
But when I did tell Uncle Fred, I said, you need to tell, I went straight to the office and said, you need to go tell your security who I am. And then
wow.
heading out the office, and then as Michael said, we were walking towards him, and he put his hand and my hand together and smiled. Now, the key to that is that he would never introduce me to anybody.
Me either.
Never ever introduce me to any other the cute guys or anybody until that moment.
Right.
Wow.
And so from that moment, and then so all night, this one over here was flirting with me from across the bar. So I told my girlfriend, and he now knows that statement is true. I said, he doesn't know what he's about to get himself into. He better try to leave me alone.
Oh,
So my takeaway is that we all need an Uncle Fred in our lives.
And then he added insult to injury. I was coming out of the ladies' room, and he was, I don't know if he was waiting or standing by the door.
I was waiting.
But when I came out the ladies' room, he kissed me on the cheek. I said, okay, now we know where this direction is going.
That's right.
And from that point forward, we've been connected. And that was over 30 years ago when we first met. And then it's been 23 years of happily ever after and counting.
Wow. That is incredible. That is such a wonderful love story. And now, so what is the ingredient? You said communication. I heard communication, and having an equal, balance as to what you, bring. Give us some more on what's the ingredients? I know there's no magic dust or anything like that. This is.
I'm gonna answer first.
Oh, he
I'm
gonna
gonna
answer
answer first.
and then I'm gonna give a real answer.
Okay. Okay.
You have to know that you're needed around. Remember that record? You have to know that you're needed around.
I didn't marry him.
A woman got to have it anytime, boy. So
Yes.
2 weeks later after we met, she came up to me in the club and said, I need a ride home. So I said, yes, I know why she needed a ride home. She wants me, yes. But again, I'm gonna play a little hardcore. So I said, okay, I'll drop you off at home. I get in front of a house. I'm not acting like a gentleman on purpose because I don't know where this is leading. So I just stayed in the car. So she said, you're not gonna open the door for me? So I got out and opened the door and still there. She said, you're not gonna walk me up to the steps, up to the door? I said, okay. Then she said, you're not gonna kiss me goodbye? So I gave her a peck. So she grabbed the back of my head and said, that's the best you can do. And
I had to test drive it before, I had to know what he was working with.
We need you to corroborate that story, Robbie.
That's a true story, but I needed to make sure I knew what I was working with before I wasted and invested, any more time.
Oh my goodness.
Like in a relationship, just like in business, if you know your why, your reason of purpose, or your goal or dream, and in my case, when I first saw her, I knew my why. Because I've been around, before her, I was in Europe. I've been around all types of women of all classes, races, colors, creeds, runway models, all type of stuff, you name it. But I was never a rambunctious man that disrespected women.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't a fascinating thing to see a beautiful woman until I saw her. And then I was like, okay, this is it.
You know how you have that, when people say you met your soulmate, I think that's what happened when we met, even though at the time I particularly wasn't looking for a soulmate. I was enjoying life, having a good time, hanging with my girls, my corporate divas, and we would just enjoy life, taking care of my family. And, so that's what was really going on. But it was something about Michael that was different than the other men I had encountered. And so
The word is gentleman.
gentleman, yes. And so we it just was automatic. Matter of fact, we would walk down the street and people would just, I literally would stop us on the street and say, you all make a beautiful couple. I mean, it was just, people just seemed to be drawn to our chemistry. And it's been like that, ever since. And in terms of answer your question about communication, so when we made our wedding vows, we made a slight alteration, two slight alterations in the wedding vows. The first, so the word is, you have to obey. I said, we're taking that out because I'm not going to swear and promise that I'm going to obey. So he said, okay, well, you have to come up. So we came up with the word compromise. So I said, okay, I'm willing to compromise at least 2% of the 98. So I'll give you 2%. I'll compromise 2% of that.
Okay.
The other word that came out of the vows was, I said, and sickness and the health. It's like, yes, of course, if you get sick, I'm going to take care of you. And then for richer, for poor, I said, no, we're taking the poor out because no, that ain't going to happen. So it's going to be richer and richer.
Wow.
Poor. No, I'm not vowing to live with poor.
That is, you know what? That the power of life or death lies in the tongue. And this is the perfect example of just living and walking in it. And I think, like you said, that, that spirit, because one thing, I want to interject here is that, one of the things that I respected so much about meeting Mr. Mathews was the fact that I felt like I knew you, Robbie, before I even met you, because he honored you in such a way. And I think, for the single ladies out here, meeting a gentleman is well worth the wait, because I think that was so incredible. And that just drew me to the both of you even the more, because I said, I've encountered so many corporate men in this, in the business arena. And I can say, that was the first, other than seeing how my father treated my mother. And that was so, incredible to me. So, thank you for being such an amazing example. And also, giving, us single folk out here, what is it? Just to know that it is possible. So I want to thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's important that as women, we understand the power we have. We pretty much can control our destiny. And sometimes we can't rush it. We have to make sure, we have to understand what's important to us and what values in a man that you want to see. And that man has to demonstrate those values, and not just when you are together, but when you are apart. So I hear all the time how much of a gentleman, which I mean, I already knew that. And that's why I've never been insecure or jealous about him talking to other women, anything like that, because I know his true heart and his true soul. And I know how he treated me from the moment we met till, until today. Now, don't get us wrong. We have our moments, we have disagreements. We don't fight. We don't call each other out of our names. We have never done that since we've been married, but we do have our disagreements on things but they're just disagreements, and we aren't going to agree on everything. That's just not even normal to try to agree on everything.
Well,
Absolutely.
That's because men are from Mars and women are from Venus. There's right and wrong, left and right, black and white, up and down. You're never going to find that person that's going to be totally what you want, 100%. But you can find that person that will agree to disagree, but also agree to love you, because you are more important than any disagreement.
That is incredible. That is incredible. And with that being said, what was the most challenging obstacle or most challenging thing that you had to overcome?
Well, for me, from her being in corporate, she was just corporately, mentally trained, and professionally and personally, and used to mixing. And I was corporate in terms of athletics. I didn't work in a corporate company, but I had to deal with corporate managers for the Chicago Transit Authority, so I'm used to the negotiation side of that. But when it came to us in the beginning, she kind of like, forget I wasn't, this is not the corporation here. We're starting a new corporation, you know, and we're both are corporate officers here. So, you know, so once I brought that to her corporate attention, she was cool after that, you know, and that's the point of communication. So I brought that up to anchor it and tie it back to the beginning question of communication as well, because that was strengths and weaknesses. We have corporate clients in the early beginning stages. I didn't have that experience or education. So that's when she led, because she was there. It made no sense for me to put my foot in our mouth because I didn't have that experience. So men, if you're listening to me, your empowering woman is educated and have more leadership in a certain direction. Allow her to lead. I'm not going to say let her, but allow her to lead, because that's her forte. And you need to step back and take a seat, and then she can brief you on it later. And now you have some more knowledge and wisdom. And the next time you can add 2 cents and then 4 cents and then 6 cents until you understand what the conversation is about.
Wow, that's amazing.
And also because he's right brain creative person. I'm left brain person. I like details. I like the information. I like to know how it works and how it functions before I make a decision. But the key is, first of all, knowing who each other is and accepting each other for who they are, accepting each other for their strengths and weaknesses. But each person has to be willing to learn and to grow together. One person can't be out there doing it and growing, especially if you're in business together. You have to be able to learn to grow together. I've had to learn more tolerance because I'm like, boom, boom, you know, let's get it done. Let's move. You know, he has to also learn a little bit more on detail. It's like, Michael, you got to understand some of the detail. So we both, you know, so we have to learn each other's side of the world, and that way it's you're not lonely. So, you know, you're not lonely on your side. I'm not always detail. I can be creative. And then sometimes he has to take care of business. So he has to be detailed. So you have to be willing to learn from each other and in order to continue to move forward. So, you know, just accepting.
Yeah, I think that's an important ingredient that you just pulled out, even though, you know, it was your uncle, quote unquote, that, you know, put your hand in hand. But I think, you know, you said one being left brain, one being right brain, then you came together. And now that's why it, you know, it works so well. Because think about it, if you have two creative people together, then you're just creating, but nobody's crossing T's and dotting I's. So I think that's that's another benefit, another bonus, even though you have to, you know, learn each other's, you know, strengths and weaknesses and such. But I think that the foundation is there, is what you're saying, that there was a great foundation from the beginning. And I think also you were clear on what you wanted and what you were clear, even though you weren't looking, Robbie, but when you saw it, you were like, yeah. Yes.
One thing, I'm very clear on things that, you know, I want, and making decisions and things that, because that was part of my background, my growing up, you know, being a single mom, you know, working in corporate America, because oftentimes I was the only one, whether it's only female or only Black person in the room, back in the day, as the kids like to say. So I've always had to be on point and know exactly what I was going into. And that whether it's in business or whether it's in personal, because I didn't have, especially having children, I didn't have time to bring, or didn't want to bring anyone into my circle, into my life, or into my children's life that wasn't right. There wasn't a good person, a good-hearted person that wasn't right. So I was always very cautious about doing that. So here we are years later.
And we started this series out asking the question individually and together, what does love mean to you?
Want to go first, honey?
Well,
See, I can compromise.
she just wants to
Sweet.
hear my answer. That's all. Left brain. I know how she thinks.
That's a good point.
She's a gentle lady right now. What love means to me is, first, you should love yourself. You know, this has nothing to do with her for the first couple of minutes. If especially being a man, and I'm saying that I'm speaking to mostly to the men first, because if you don't love yourself, it's very, really hard to forget about yourself and put a woman first. So if you love yourself, you know who you are, you can stand in your strength, and you are anchored on righteousness and integrity and serving and giving and caring. If you can have some of those values for yourself, when you walk and stand in your power amongst other men who don't have that, as well as other men who do have that, both of those different types will gravitate towards you. And then when you talk about the relationship side of that, people in the room will feel that energy, you know, and you don't have to say anything. You just have to show up and be present. It's all about, like how I met Dr. Liz. The first couple of minutes, I always say it with our business that we're in, the fortress opportunity that we're in. I've always spoke about Robbie the first 3 or 4 seconds or minutes of doing a presentation, because I wanted people to know that we are a team, even though she's not here physically with me. She's here with me because I'm telling you out of my mouth. Like Earl Nightingale, we become what we think about. We become what we talk about. So I've always talked about the person I love, if she's around or not. So in order to be that man, you should be able to not be afraid or ashamed to say that when she's around and when she's not. So love to me means, first you have to love yourself, and then love the other, love your wife, your spouse, your girlfriend, your mate, your significant other, unconditionally. Accept them for who they are and agree to disagree, but also agree to get better. And number 3 is, before you throw stones, always look in the mirror, because that stone will come back at you. So if you're righteous and upfront and on point and on target, make sure you have a gentleman's conversation with your gentle lady, not the kind that's going to make her or make you into a gorilla or somebody that you really know you're not. Take a minute, take a breath, walk away, come back. Baby, blah, 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 blah. Make her feel and understand that you really need some sincerity in this conversation, and it's really important, but do it in a monotone way. Grab her hand, hold her hand, look in the eye, and say, I need to talk to you about something. Do you have a minute? No matter what it is, if she don't have a minute right then, don't talk to her right there, because you need her to fully be in looking at you, understanding you as you're delivering, because in communication, there's the sender and the receiver. If both frequencies are not on the same dial tone, it's a misguided message. So that's my point of view for now.
Wow. We need some gentleman training classes for sure.
Okay.
The ball is in your court, Robbie.
What love is peace. I mean, of course, all the things Michael said in terms of loving yourself, and because I definitely love myself, and I'm very self-aware. Whether I act like it sometimes or not, I'm not perfect, but love to me is peace, where you know that you're giving your all and you're receiving, because love is a two-way street. And yes, you can love a person from across the street, but that's not that type of love, that binding, that everlasting, that compromising, that making you feel secure type of love. And so you have to be willing to receive it. So it's that's why I say it's peace. It's, I know I have love, I know I give love, and I feel love. And so once you have that, then everything else, the rest of the stuff doesn't really matter. You can get through that, because I'm not always wondering, okay, what is he gonna do? What is he saying? Is he gonna be mad when he comes in? Is he gonna, I can be myself. I can relax. I can, if I want to get mad, if I get mad about something, I know he's just gonna chill out and wait till I'm done being mad. And it's not a matter of being mad or being angry. You know, I can actually say we've never been angry. I mean, like, so we've had disagreements, might not like something he said or something he did or vice versa, but you have to be open to other people's disagreements. So, and then recognize what role you played in that disagreement. So I just describe it as, you know, peace. I'm not stressed on my marriage, and my relationship with my husband is the least amount of my worries in life. And I don't take them for granted. I know I have to live up to my part of it, of the relationship. And so you just have to be at peace with yourself, at peace with your life, at peace with your relationship. And with that comes love. Because if you're in turmoil, you can't give love, and nor can you receive it. So you have to get to that point in your life where, yeah, this is, you know, I'm good. I'm happy. I'm peaceful, and everything else will fall into place. So that's the way I find love, is peace.
Wow, I think that is incredible. That is so beautiful. So as we wrap up this series on, or this session on what love means to me, you know, I think you have dropped so many beautiful nuggets that, you know, now all we have to do is execute and sit back and wait. Execute and wait. But I love that, you know, it just says the two of you have such a glow about yourselves, such a cohesiveness. I think it's just wonderful. And I thank you for coming out today and just sharing a piece of that with everybody else. Is there anything that you'd like to leave the audience with, or our community with?
Reach out and touch somebody.
I did hear him
Help make this world a better place if you can. Now that's love. Reach
That's
out
love.
and touch somebody's hand. Help make this world a better place if you can.
I would have joined in as backup, but yeah, I don't want us to lose people. I'll read a song in a minute to our audience, but I won't sing it to them.
I know you live close to Motown. I just thought I'd throw a little bit in there.
Well, all right then.
Motown.
Well, again, I thank you both so much for being here. We're going to have to get you on individually because you offer so much. And we are a wellness of life community. And so we're about the full wellness of life. So again, I thank you both so much for being such beautiful people and contributing to our wellness of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And everybody.
Thank you, Dr. It's smoothie time.
It's smoothie time. The book is coming. And we've been talking about it and putting some teasers down, but the book is coming. And I thank you both again, publicly. I thank you both for being such intricate parts of getting this book out and getting it published and getting it out of me. So everybody, look forward to smoothie time, and we will talk with you soon. Stay fearless, and bye for now.
Bye,
Bye for now, Dr. Liz. Bye.